Let's get to the news. President Biden made a surprise appearance on Friday at the White House press briefing. And you know a president has one foot out the door when their appearance at the White House is a surprise. That's like saying, I made a surprise appearance here. It should be expected. Former President Trump held a rally on Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, which featured a moment of silence, specifically when he said, "Please welcome J.D. Vance." Elon Musk spoke on stage on Saturday at former President Trump's rally in Pennsylvania and wore an Occupy Mars t-shirt and jumped up and down twice. Said Trump, "Ugh, he's like the son I already have." That's right, Elon Musk spoke at former President Trump's rally in Pennsylvania, wore a black MAGA hat, and said, quote, "As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA. And when I heard that, I cringed so hard, I momentarily had abs." This guy thinks he's dark. Dude, you're the whitest person ever born. You're the same color they paint apartments after someone moves out. We got new renter. You musk up the walls. While speaking yesterday at a rally in Wisconsin, former President Trump bragged that he does not use a teleprompter, and I was pretty pissed to find out why, Wally. At his campaign event in North Carolina on Friday, former President Trump praised his daughter-in-law and RNC co-chair Lara Trump and said she was a, quote, "very upwardly mobile person." What an insane way to compliment your daughter-in-law. We love Lara, don't we, folks? Always trying to climb the social ladder any way she can. Married into our family just to get ahead, and we respect that. In our upcoming memoir, former First Lady Melania Trump writes that she supports abortion rights and says, quote, "Why should anyone other than the woman herself have the power to determine what she does with her own body?" Damn, I can't believe she plagiarized Michelle Obama again. Bruce Springsteen endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris last week in a 3-minute video posted on social media, which was filmed in a New Jersey diner. And I'm just happy they finally found a 75-year-old man in a diner who's voting for Harris. And finally, LeBron James and his son Bronny yesterday became the first father-son duo to play together on an NBA team. Well, it probably happened with Will Chamberlain. You know, he just didn't know. That's just stat stuff. Vice President Kamala Harris made appearances today on The View, Howard Stern, and The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, or, as I can't help thinking of it, 1.3 miles away, 0.2 miles away, and 0.6 miles away. Vice President Kamala Harris appeared today on Howard Stern's Sirius XM satellite radio show, and she's already gone up 15 points among Uber drivers. In a special edition of 60 Minutes that aired last night, correspondent Bill Whitaker told Vice President Kamala Harris that in the, quote, real world, she and Congress would not come to an agreement over taxing the wealthy. Then again, this can't possibly be the real world. When former President Trump falsely claimed in a new interview that Vice President Kamala Harris had not visited areas devastated by Hurricane Helene, Fox News host Laura Ingraham fact-checked him and said, quote, "She was there today for 3 hours." Imagine being such a liar that you get fact-checked by Laura Ingraham. That's like getting fashion advice from Kevin Smith. And I love you, dude. You know I love you. You look like an 8-year-old with a court date. And I love you. A new book by legendary journalist Bob Woodward claims that former President Trump has called Russian President Vladimir Putin as many as 7 times since leaving the White House. That's how you know they're tight. Adult men never call each other. I even called my best friend 7 times total. In a new interview, former First Lady Melania Trump said that former President Trump has known about her position on abortion rights since the day they met, which is great, but maybe work on your small talk? I think this first date's going great. Anything else? A 6th senior member of New York Mayor Eric Adams' administration has resigned. Okay, who's even left at this point? At this rate, his communications director is just going to be a Times Square Dora. In honor of the movie's 40th anniversary, Krispy Kreme is offering a Ghostbusters-themed menu, including a Slimer donut. And whatever you do, don't Google Slimer donut at work. Kevin, couldn't help noticing something on your computer screen as I was strolling by. Taco Bell last week was named the fastest drive-thru, and... Wally, what do you think went wrong there?
We made a change.
You made a change. Yeah, we changed the punchline, but we definitely missed a word.
Yeah, way.
Yeah, way. You think way is the word?
I think so.
All right, let's see how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is Wally and I working together. I also thought it was way, but I don't, I'm not going to go out, on a ledge like that. That's what they say, go out on a ledge, right? It's not limb. You guys are seeing how things go when the cue cards are up. Where are my words? Taco Bell last week was named the fastest drive-thru. And by the way, the food doesn't slow down any after you eat it. Let me do it the other way. Now let's try it. Let's try it the way Wally wrote it. Taco Bell last week was named the fastest drive-thru, and by the food doesn't slow down any. Maybe. I don't know, they kind of both worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, what the f is wrong with you? And finally, a Florida man was arrested last week after he allegedly stole $30,000 worth of marijuana and other merchandise from a dispensary. And then this morning, the employees realized they were being robbed. Hey, stop him. In a new interview with radio host Howard Stern, Vice President Kamala Harris said that she doesn't really take naps, setting up a clear contrast with President Biden, who took one mid-debate. During the same interview with Howard Stern, Vice President Kamala Harris said that she usually eats a bowl of Raisin Bran or Special K for breakfast, whereas her opponent, as we all know, is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Harris also criticized Trump for reportedly sending COVID tests to Russian President Vladimir Putin. To be fair, lots of people in Putin's circle were suddenly dying. Falling from balcony is a very common COVID symptom. Vice President Kamala Harris criticized former President Trump during an interview yesterday for amplifying misinformation about Hurricane Helene and warned Floridians to follow guidance from local officials. Okay, but have you seen their local official? I think the guidance is remove all the books about being gay from the library and use them as a raft. President Biden said yesterday that he was postponing an international trip due to Hurricane Milton and added, quote, "I just don't think I can be out of the country at this time." Oh, that's the best time to go, said Ted Cruz. You gotta go now. There's deals on flights. In her appearance on Fox News yesterday, former First Lady Melania Trump said that former President Trump does not wear pajamas. Okay, you mean to tell me that's a suit? Domino's has announced it'll relaunch its emergency pizza program. Although, what kind of emergency requires a Domino's pizza? Yeah, help, I'm super stoned and I forgot what drywall tastes like. The New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. Wait, you're telling me this whole time the Jets had a coach? I thought it was like an improv troupe. We'd like a suggestion of a football play. In honor of Halloween, Chipotle has announced that it will offer burritos to customers in costume for $6 after 3 p.m. Good news for the front of the horse, but horrible news for the back. That's right, Chipotle has announced that it will offer discounted burritos to customers in costume, and Waffle House said they'll give you hash browns if you put on a shirt. The Kremlin confirmed reports yesterday that during the coronavirus pandemic, former President Trump sent Russian President Vladimir Putin several COVID testing machines for personal use. Well, who are you going to believe? The Kremlin spokesman or the other Kremlin spokesman? In a new interview, former President Trump said that he doesn't ramble in his speeches and added that he does a, quote, thing called the weave, then the crowd does a thing called the leave. When asked in a new interview about his former Vice President Mike Pence, former President Trump said that they had a very good relationship, but added, quote, he couldn't cross the line of doing what was right. And if you've ever doubted Trump knew he lost the election, the phrase cross the line proves it. No one ever crosses the line to do what's right. They cross the line to do what's wrong. No one ever says, darling, this flower arrangement you got me truly crosses the line of love. Happy anniversary to you as well. In a new interview, radio host Howard Stern said that he sees Vice President Kamala Harris as the, quote, law and order candidate, and Trump as the law and order guest star. In his upcoming book, journalist Bob Woodward said that behind closed doors, President Biden refers to former President Trump as, quote, that ass. Wow, who would have guessed Biden had so much in common with Melania? In her appearance on Fox News' The Five this week, former First Lady Melania Trump said that former President Trump does not sleep much. Then again, she wasn't really around when he was in court. According to a new CNN fact check, former President Trump made at least 11 false claims during an interview this week with conservative radio host Hugh Hewitt. Only 11? Was it a 4-minute interview? I feel like Trump could make 11 false claims during a haiku. A passenger on an American Airlines flight from New York to Detroit recently claimed that they found a bed bug in their first-class seat. The flight crew promptly escorted it back to coach where it belonged. After New York City officials announced that applications for the Cannabis New York City Loan Fund are now open, Mayor Eric Adams said in a statement that the, quote, legalization of cannabis has allowed a new economy to emerge, and I think Adams is just excited to finally be a part of something that's legal. In honor of Halloween, Chipotle has announced that it will offer burritos to customers in costume for $6 after 3 p.m. And the burrito comes with a warning if your costume includes a leotard. And finally, the retailer Spirit Halloween this week announced it would test a new Spirit Christmas concept this year. It's the perfect place to pick up an obese chimney intruder costume. And that was a monologue, everybody. We're off and running.